Okay. I keep forgetting that you can play with filters on this thing. Girl, just keep it simple. Ain't nobody got time for the anything else. Okay. Let's go like this. Hey, YouTube. I was needing to get on here live yesterday, but things didn't work out that way. But we is here today. So let's get into today's conversation. So what I wanted to talk with you guys yesterday was about wow, my trip and how it brought forth to me the importance of dark energy and working with the dark forces. Step into the dark side. But not that kind of darkness. When I'm talking about darkness or dark energy, I am talking about the aspect of the universe that is 90% of the universe. So we know from science that our naked eye can only see about 10% of light, and the other 90% we are in darkness of. And so the same concept applies as we are light and dark beings. So much of our society or cultural upbringing and the way we have been programmed is to seek external stimulation and just to externalize our experience. While we are having external experience, there's very much an internal experience that takes place prior to the externality. So it's going to be important that we are able to find wholeness between our light self and our dark self. So what is our dark self? So you guys heard of shadow work or working on the shadows, which we talked a little bit about last year, and we're always going to continue talking about shadow work because shadow work never stops. There's always something that's ever growing, ever processing with shadow work. So when we're talking about specifically me, when I'm saying shadow work, I'm talking about the aspects of ourselves that are denied, pushed aside, or just completely not discovered, has been undiscovered. So there's not just the bad things that are in our darkness. There are also some jewels and golds and wonderful talents and abilities and confidence and all these wonderful things that we need is in our darkness as well. But since we are so advert to going in our darkness because of programming due to religiosity or other programs, we have pushed away that part of ourselves and refuse it. And it shows up. And when the darkness shows up, it usually shows up as a temper tantrum. It shows up as a nasty attitude. It can show up as something that we would say is not very becoming of us. And our shadow is suppressed. It's suppressed, it's repressed, and it's going to continue to show up in ways. I probably should put my phone down. I think that'll be easier. You guys will see me a lot clearer. Sometimes you think I don't know, sometimes putting things in my hand makes me feel like I'm doing something. But anywho, so with this concept of going into our shadows, it's important and necessary because that's how we're really going to be able to have a more complete holistic experience. So I should have said this in the beginning. Excuse me, guys. If you don't know who I am, I'm Tahiri Divine. And you guys, my channel, I like to talk about shadow work, magic, and all things mystical as it pertains to the divine feminine path. I work a lot with archetypes, divine feminine archetypes. This December, the 1st through the 3rd, I am offering a free mini course on the wild feminine. And so this conversation that we're having right now goes in tandem with that whole dark aspect and dark feminine and the wildness and why we should tap into it and the joys that it brings being embodied not just spiritually, but also physically. There is a divinity in the female body. There's divinity in the male body. There's divinity in the bodies, all personhood bodies. However, I'm talking specifically to the female body and those who are in a female body of the divine feminine path in their spirituality walk. Because there is a feminine spiritual path. There's also a masculine spiritual path, and they merged into each other at one point in time. But we got to understand them in their separates as we can put them together in their wholes. But so that's coming up. So you guys can actually sign up for that and the links after this live. But today I'm talking about dark energy and why it's important to tap into your dark energy, because again, it's where you're going to find your answers. It's where you're going to be able to all the things that we seek externally, whether it's love, confidence, validation. All those things are going to be in your darkness just as much as your insecurities, your fears, all of that. But that should, I would hope, with the information that myself and others who provide on shadow work and working with your darkness, that it doesn't deter you or derail you from going into your darkness and befriending that part of yourself, because it's important to merge it, especially as times are changing now. It's going to be so ever present that you have to know how to be a holistic person and tap into both your dark and your light side and transmute that, because attacks are going to be coming every which way. There's so much transformation and changes that we're going, because this new age is ushering in change, and you need that to maneuver in these realms. And unlike present times or past times, you didn't, not saying you didn't need your dark energy, you needed it, but the society and culture at large, as how the energies were at the time, it wasn't as available, let's say, for us as it is now. So let's talk about this dark energy now. Let's talk about it. Let me sit myself down. So I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Okay. So the best way that I like to work with dark energy is I like to close myself off from all stimulation. So whether it's like vision, sound, I put myself in water sometimes. That helps me to really get zoned in into this understanding of dark energy. Let's see. Making sure you guys are still with me here. And that's going to be, for me, that helps me tap into quicker. The purpose of going into the darkness is to seek answers, guidance, talents, abilities, all that. And so for me specifically, I used it as a way to seek out my confidence. I started working specifically with dark energy about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It was right around the start of my Saturn return, and I'm gonna talk about that again in another video. I did do a video on my Saturn return kind of when I was in the tail end of it, but now that it's been a few years and I've seen the necessity of that time frame, I have a more insightful perspective to share about that. So Saturn return video coming soon. But back, so that was when I really started tapping with the dark energy of manifesting and working with the dark to manifest. And that's when I was introduced to Kali Ma. She was the first goddess I ever worked with. So most people could say Oshun or Aphrodite or all the other more of the lighter presenting aspects of the goddesses they may have had experience with, but that was not me. Mine was specifically with the dark goddess herself, Kali Ma. That was the first goddess I worked with, and that was actually necessary for me in my Saturn return. But anyway, so back to the stimulating. When I go into the darkness, I typically ask myself specific questions on what it is that I want to manifest. Why do I want it? How do I intend to use it? All these things. I ask myself a lot of different qualifying answers. Like, think of it like you're putting an application. There's all these qualifying answers that need to be asked to see if you're a good candidate for the job. I kind of treat myself that way when I'm going to the darkness. And then once I come to a sure fit, like this is what I know, yep, this is what I want, this is what we're doing, I then align my own energy with that thing that I'm drawing for or wanting to experience. And then I, in my mind's eye that's taking place, I shoot that energy back to my body, wherever I'm sitting at, or in my trance state. So I'm like in that trance state, and I shoot that energy to my body. And once I feel the resonation in my body, and this is where body consciousness is going to be important, learning about the body and the different signals the body gives, and we'll talk about that in the Wild Feminine class. Then I use that as a trigger to move forward, and I will listen with my body, listen into my body for that trigger when I'm making a decision that's in alignment with what it is that I'm here to create. That's how I'm able to do it. So there's that's one aspect. It may show up differently for you, but I think as being a female-bodied person, or just being in a body period, listening to your body prompts and allowing your body to be a vehicle for you as it is for your manifestations is going to be important, and for decision makings and changes that you make, because that helps you give signals so that you don't always need something external, like nothing against 1111 or any of those other external messages or synchronicities that we may get. But just knowing that the time that we are in a very convoluted time, and it's a lot of energy being put out. So it's important not to get too caught up in those signals, external signals, because sometimes it can be derailed by an opposing force. So you may think you're getting a message that is of your higher self that may not. And this is why discernment too is going to be important. So working with dark energy helps you strengthen your discernment, because now you can kind of pretty much tell when something is in alignment for you and not. And like, no, that ain't what I asked for. Next, that's a distraction, that's a detour, whatever. So that's important to understand too. So I'm excited about this time because this is, you guys can actually use this as a time to really put in the work to bring forth your manifestation. So you guys can go during this full moon in Taurus, which is so perfect because Taurus energy, or Hathor, the goddess Hathor, since she represents by the cow, the bull, is in alignment with what Taurus energy is bringing about, being very earth-based. Although Hathor is a cosmic goddess, she's very earth-based. She's very understanding to our human earth experience, or just Earth's experience in general. And so being present in the body, being able to be in your senses and utilizing your senses as a navigating post for your manifestations, for your leveling up, is going to be important, as well as working with Hecate. Hecate is the other side of the spectrum, who's very cosmic, but in the underworld, and she transmutes. She's the keeper of the keys. So when you're going into your darkness, it's important to not just only pull out the weeds, things that are no longer necessary for you at this time. Allow Hecate's energy to transmute them into the positivities, whether it's through art, through creativity, whatever form of creativity that you express. Utilize those bad things that you're plucking out of your life and transmute them into some creative expressions, right? And that is there how you transmute it. And then that too, she can also help you find your gifts within that dark area of your life, or the darkness that you're going into to get answers, because she'll help you. So like, okay, this is something negative that needs to be worked on, but this is something positive that you have here too. Don't forget this, and let's cultivate this. She's really great for that. And then Hathor is really great for that nurturance and creating an environment for that gem that you found within you to be cultivated. So working with those two energies for this new full moon, for this full moon lunar eclipse, it will be very helpful. I'll actually be going to be posting a video later for you guys that it's a ritual that you can use during the full moon, or any time when you want to connect to that energy of transmutation and being presently in the body. So look out for that soon. Don't forget, you guys can actually connect with me on all my social sites as Tahiri Divine. I will be having the links for that registration for that free mini class, the Wild Feminine. So if you ladies are interested in learning about the divinity of being whole spiritually and physically, and really learning how to encapsulate your physical body, how to have joy in the body of a female and work with that and in alignment with your spiritual path, then that is the class for you. I'm excited about it. All right, let me stop shaking the table and get off here. You guys can connect with me on all my social sites as Tahiri Divine. Until next time, I love you guys. Bye.